2024 und darüber hinaus. Die Vorträge können sowohl vor Ort an der Hochschule als auch online besucht werden. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Technologieseminar der Hochschule Karlsruhe in Zusammenarbeit mit dem VDI-Forum für digitale Transformation und dem VDE. Die Vorträge im Wintersemester 2023 und 2024 bieten spannende Einblicke in wegweisende Technologien für unsere Zukunft. Erleben Sie die Welt des Automotive-Radars nicht nur für sicheres Fahren, sondern auch als Schlüssel für autonomes Fahren und intelligente Verkehrssysteme. Oder tauchen Sie ein in die Welt der Balkon-PV-Anlagen, eine innovative Möglichkeit der erneuerbaren Energiegewinnung direkt bei Ihnen zu Hause. Entdecken Sie die Potenziale der solaren Kraft-Wärme-Kopplung für den Hausgebrauch, um Ihr Zuhause energieeffizienter und umweltfreundlicher zu gestalten. Dann erkunden wir die Synergien zwischen Verdichtern und Verbrennungsmotoren, die neue Möglichkeiten und Innovationen hervorbringen. Erfahren Sie, wie Normung das Vertrauen in Technik stärkt und eine zuverlässige technologische Zukunft fördert. Und seien Sie gespannt auf bevorstehende technologische Durchbrüche in 2024 und darüber hinaus. Die Vorträge können sowohl vor Ort an der Hochschule als auch online besucht werden. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Technologieseminar der Hochschule Karlsruhe in Zusammenarbeit mit dem VDI-Forum für digitale Transformation und dem VDE. Die Vorträge im Wintersemester 2023 und 2024 bieten spannende Einblicke in wegweisende Technologien für unsere Zukunft. Erleben Sie die Welt des Automotive-Radars nicht nur für sicheres Fahren, sondern auch als Schlüssel für autonomes Fahren und intelligente Verkehrssysteme. Oder tauchen Sie ein in die Welt der Balkon-PV-Anlagen, eine innovative Möglichkeit der erneuerbaren Energiegewinnung direkt bei Ihnen zu Hause. Entdecken Sie die Potenziale der solaren Kraft-Wärme-Kopplung für den Hausgebrauch, um Ihr Zuhause energieeffizienter und umweltfreundlicher zu gestalten. Dann erkunden wir die Synergien zwischen Verdichtern und Verbrennungsmotoren, die neue Möglichkeiten und Innovationen hervorbringen. Erfahren Sie, wie Normung das Vertrauen in Technik stärkt und eine zuverlässige technologische Zukunft fördert. Und seien Sie gespannt auf bevorstehende technologische Durchbrüche in 2024 und darüber hinaus. Die Vorträge können sowohl vor Ort an der Hochschule als auch online besucht werden. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Technologieseminar der Hochschule Karlsruhe in Zusammenarbeit mit dem VDI-Forum für digitale Transformation und dem VDE. Die Vorträge im Wintersemester 2023 und 2024 bieten spannende Einblicke in wegweisende Technologien für unsere Zukunft. Erleben Sie die Welt des Automotive-Radars nicht nur für sicheres Fahren, sondern auch als Schlüssel für autonomes Fahren und intelligente Verkehrssysteme. Oder tauchen Sie ein in die Welt der Balkon-PV-Anlagen, eine innovative Möglichkeit der erneuerbaren Energiegewinnung direkt bei Ihnen zu Hause. Entdecken Sie die Potenziale der solaren Kraft-Wärme-Kopplung für den Hausgebrauch, um Ihr Zuhause energieeffizienter und umweltfreundlicher zu gestalten. Dann erkunden wir die Synergien zwischen Verdichtern und Verbrennungsmotoren, die neue Möglichkeiten und Innovationen hervorbringen. Erfahren Sie, wie Normung das Vertrauen in Technik stärkt und eine zuverlässige technologische Zukunft fördert. Und seien Sie gespannt auf bevorstehende technologische Durchbrüche in 2024 und darüber hinaus. Die Vorträge können sowohl vor Ort an der Hochschule als auch online besucht werden. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Technologieseminar der Hochschule Karlsruhe in Zusammenarbeit mit dem VDI-Forum für digitale Transformation und dem VDE. Die Vorträge im Wintersemester 2023 und 2024 bieten spannende Einblicke in wegweisende Technologien für unsere Zukunft. Erleben Sie die Welt des Automotive-Radars nicht nur für sicheres Fahren, sondern auch als Schlüssel für autonomes Fahren und intelligente Verkehrssysteme. Oder tauchen Sie ein in die Welt der Balkon-PV-Anlagen, eine innovative Möglichkeit der erneuerbaren Energiegewinnung direkt bei Ihnen zu Hause. Entdecken Sie die Potenziale der solaren Kraft-Wärme-Kopplung für den Hausgebrauch, um Ihr Zuhause energieeffizienter und umweltfreundlicher zu gestalten. Dann erkunden wir die Synergien zwischen Verdichtern und Verbrennungsmotoren, die neue Möglichkeiten und Innovationen hervorbringen. Erfahren Sie, wie Normung das Vertrauen in Technik stärkt und eine zuverlässige technologische Zukunft fördert. Und seien Sie gespannt auf bevorstehende technologische Durchbrüche in 2024 und darüber hinaus. Die Vorträge können sowohl vor Ort Ort an der Hochschule als auch online besucht werden. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Technologieseminar der Hochschule Karlsruhe. Wir führen dieses Seminar wieder durch gemeinsam mit dem VDI-Forum Digitale Transformation und dem VDE Mittelbaden. Und ich freue mich sehr, dass wir heute hier einen Beitrag haben von unserem Arbeitskreis TGA, Technische Gebäudeausrüstung, und dem DKV. Und wir haben wieder ein sehr spannendes Thema hier zum Thema der regenerativen Energien. An der Stelle grüße ich alle sehr herzlich hier im Hörsaal an der Hochschule Karlsruhe, aber auch die Zuschauer jetzt im VDE-Livestream. Und an der Stelle möchte ich gerne meinen Kollegen Philipp Nenninger übergeben, der unsere Referentin heute vorstellt.
Ja, ich möchte Sie ganz herzlich begrüßen und wir haben heute Frau Xu bei uns. Frau Xu hat ihren Doktor in der Chinesischen Akademie der Wissenschaften gemacht, Chinese Academy of Sciences. Danach zwei sehr prestigeträchtige Positionen, Postdoc in Cambridge und ein Research Stay am Imperial College in London, und ist jetzt seit 2021 erst Research Fellow und jetzt Junior Group Leader am KIT, am Institute of Microstructure Technology. Heute geht es ein bisschen um die Verbindung zwischen Technologie und Ökonomie, nämlich ganz genau Techno-Economic Assessment of Solar System for Domestic Applications in European Countries. Wie Sie schon merken, der Vortrag wird heute auf Englisch sein. Frau Xu spricht zwar wunderbares Deutsch, aber sowohl Vortrag als auch die anschließenden Fragen werden auf Englisch sein. As for every presentation, our students prepared a little intro. With that, film up.
Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Technologieseminar der Hochschule Karlsruhe in Zusammenarbeit mit dem VDI-Forum für digitale Transformation und dem VDE. In Zeiten politischer Differenzen in Bezug auf Gas- und Stromversorgung gewinnen PVT-Anlagen, kombinierte Photovoltaik-Thermie-Systeme, enorm an Bedeutung. Durch diese ist es möglich, mittels Solarenergie gleichzeitig Strom und Wärme zu erzeugen. Viele Haushalte setzen heute schon auf Photovoltaikanlagen auf den Dächern und Wärmepumpen im Keller, um sich unabhängiger zu machen. Was aber genau macht die PVT-Anlagen im europäischen Raum so attraktiv? Bitte begrüßen Sie nun Dr. Jingyuan Xu vom KIT, welche diese Fragen im Rahmen des heutigen Vortrags beantworten wird.
Hello everyone, thank you for the introduction and a very nice video. My name is Jingyuan Xu, I'm from KIT, and it is really nice to be invited here to give the talk to you. For this talk, so today we are going to discuss with three kinds of solar energy system. So one is the solar thermal, and another one is the PV, so maybe most of you already know. And another one is the one maybe you don't know very much, is about the hybrid PVT, is like photovoltaic thermal technology. So we are going to prepare these three technologies, and the main purpose is for domestic application. And we are going to conduct research and comparison for 26 European countries. And this assessment is not only focused on the tech performance, but also we are going to do economic and also environmental potentials of this system. Okay, so this is the outline of the presentation. So first, I will introduce the background of the solar system, and then I will going to introduce the methodologies and also some case studies, because we are going to study 26 countries, so there are a lot of input parameters for different countries. So I will introduce these input parameters, and then we are going to discuss with results and also some discussions, and finally is the conclusion. Okay, so first is the motivation. So as we know, EU has set a very ambitious targets on renewable energy. For example, we have a EU Renewable Energy Directive. That means that until 2030, about 40% energy consumptions of EU will be covered by renewable energy. And in Germany, this number will be higher. In Germany, until after 8 years, so there will be 65% energy consumptions of Germany will covered by renewable energy. And there are 3 important policies to support the renewable energy target. One is the European solar rooftops initiative. So this one, the EU would like to have to increase the utilization of the rooftops for clean energy to produce more energy or more power generation. And another support is EU large-scale partnership. So EU would like to increase more jobs and to decrease the skill gap in the renewable energy department. And also, in the last year, we have the EU Solar PV Industry Alliance this alliance has been developed, and this one would like to promote the industry potentials of PV. And among all the renewable energy, solar energy is one of the most promising renewable energy. And this solar energy is first is very clean and also very cheap, and also is modular and also flexible. And as you can see in this picture, you can see the mouse from the screen. So as you can see this picture, this is the new capacity in the 2 years later. So here this is the solar PV, which is almost 0.5% of the share in the renewable energy, and followed by wind energy and some hydropower. So this means that this solar energy has a very significant share in the renewable energy now. And also it has shown that there is a significant increasing utilization rate of the solar energy. As you can see here from the 2011 and the 2022, there is more than 10 times of the electricity capacity in solar energy. And regarding to the combined heating and power system for domestic application, so currently the cogeneration, so which is the combined heating and power system, has demonstrated more efficiency or higher efficiency than the conventional coal power plants. And for this one, you already can be seen from this name. So it can produce the heating and power at the same time. And as you can see here, this is the cogeneration system, because the input gas is the natural gas, and it can produce the the heating and the power at the same time. Because this one, they will save some waste heat or utilize the waste heat for produce cooling. So the efficiency would be very high. It's about around 85%, and with very small energy loss. But compared with the conventional heat and power supply, so we just have the power or energy generation from the coal-fired plants. But many of the energy from these coal plants will be wasted as the waste heat, which is not utilized anymore. So the efficiency of these coal-fired plants is very low. And the total efficiency of the conventional heating and power system is only 55%. So now it's very important to have the combined heating and power system. We call the CHP system for domestic application. So we want to increase the efficiency of this for domestic application. And the objective of this presentation, so first we will establish a very general solar CHP system. And then we will use this system to analysis of domestic application in 26 European countries. And then after we got the result, we are going to do cross comparison from the techno-economic analysis. And finally, from this result, we will determine the future strategy for solar system. So here is very brief introduction of the whole work. The subjects is 26 European countries and 3 solar systems, including PV system and PV thermal system, we call PVT, and also solar thermal system, we call ST. And the indicators, we are going to investigate from tech, economic, and environment analysis. And tools, we are going to develop a MATLAB model to compare this assessment. And first, I will start with introduction of these three kind of solar systems. Okay, so first is the PV system. So currently there are three types of the PV system. So one is the grid connect. So there's three types of connections with grid or without grid. So one is the grid connect. So for this one, grid will make up for the shortage. And also when there is exist power generation from the PV, so it will export to the grid. And this can also earn some money or can be sold to the grid. So so in our investigation, we are focused on this grid direct system. And another connection is off-grid, so there's totally no connection to the grid. And so in these cases, we are going to use batteries to store electricity. And the third one is now the very smart, and also the novel one is the grid hybrid. So here you can see we have the battery as a backup, and then we have the grid, and we can switch on and switch off to connect with or without this grid. So this one is very smart, so we can avoid very high energy demand, and then we can use the batteries to charge the system. But if we and also if there's excess energy system from electricity produced by PV, so it can be also stored in the battery. So this is very flexible and very smart, and can adapt to the high prices of the electricity demand. And however, there's one disadvantage of the PV, because there's a self-heating of the PV. So that means that these solar cells will in power produced by PV will decrease when the temperature of the panel increases. So here is the pictures that shows these things. So that means that when increases raises of 1 Celsius of PV cells temperatures, there will be 0.2 to 0.5% drops in the electric power generation. This is quite a lot. So if we use a very large areas of the PV, so this amount of the reduction of the electricity power would be a lot. So there will be one good solution is that we can add additional cooling system to utilize this to give away this heat. So there's one side this waste heat will be utilized, and the temperature of the PV will be decreased. So this is the concept of the PVT. We call it photovoltaic-thermal system. Yes. So this is the concept of the PVT system. So this is the PV panel, which is just the normal PV panel. And below this PV panel, we add some loops, called the cooling loops. So for this one, we can take the heat generated from the PV out for heating demand. So this is the waste of utilization of waste heat. And at the same time, the temperature of the PV will be decreased because of this waste heat has been taken out. So the efficiency of the PV will increases. And for this PVT system, it will produce both electricity and heating. The electricity is produced by PV, and the heating will be provided by this cooling cycle. So this is the second solar system we're going to explore. And the third system, maybe most of you already know, is a solar thermal system. Is very mature and very well established technology. So here we have observer and also some tubes. And here in each tubes we have the thermal fluid to give some heat transfer. And the thermal energy generated by solar will be going to give to meet the heating demand of the domestic application. So, and the advantage of this technology is very simple structure and very stable and very well developed and very mature technology. And the second one we are going to discuss with methodologies we are going to do in this talk. So here is the schematic, the system we are going to explore. So here we have the solar collectors. So this can be a PV, or we also think about the PVT, and we also think about ST. And here we have the tank, and we also have the grid, and also some space heating demand and hot water demand. So this is for domestic application. So first, as you can see, this yellow is for electricity generation. First, the solar energy we are converted into electricity from this solar collector, the solar panel, and the generated electricity will be first to meet the electricity demand of the domestic application, and another one will be to meet this power, the required power from the pump, and if there is excess electricity generated, it will explode to the grid and to earn some money from the grid. And if this electricity generated by this solar collector is not enough, the grid will implore some electricity to avoid a shortage. So this is for electricity generation. And for thermal generation, so as you can see, these red lines for thermal generation, so we'll have some fluid cooling cycles from this panel. So there will be some hot thermal fluid coming out, and first they will go from this coil, and then this is a loop, and they will go back, and from this coil, and then there will be some bypass to adjust the temperature. And because of this heat coil, which is a heat exchanger, the generated some energy from this solar collector will give to this tank, and the temperature of tank will increases, and there will be another from this tank there will be another thermal fluid coming to give the thermal energy to the hot water, as you can see here. This mixture device is also to adjust the temperature. Because as you know, for the hot water, the temperature is usually 60 or 55 Celsius. So we need to use this mixer device to adjust the temperature. And so this is the part of the energy used for hot water demand. And another of the energy, the thermal energy, will be used for space heating demand, as you can see these small loops. And in this system, we also have this external heater. So this is to in case that if this thermal energy from this solar collector is not enough, so we will need to external heaters to to avoid this shortage of the thermal energy. And the next is the model. So we consider about the thermal and electricity efficiency for these solar collectors. So this is the solar efficiency. So we will have this, this is the mass flow rate, and this is the specific heat of the fluid, and then we have the temperature difference between the in and out, and this is the solar, and the solar irradiance and the areas of the panel. And here we have the efficiency equations, and for this efficiency, we have the ISO 0 and alpha 1 and alpha 2. So these three parameters will be most dependent on the product. So for example, if we choose this product from one company, so these three parameters will be fixed. If we choose another one, it will be changed to another parameter, another members. So this will go with each product, we'll verify from each product. So this thermal efficiency is like equations with the TR, which is reduce the temperature. And this is the expression of the reduced temperature, which is related to the temperature of the panel. And also we have the solar, the electric efficiency, which is in this, and in this one, we also have the this reference efficiency and also the beta. So these two parameters are also verified with different products. So for different products, we will have different set of these parameters. And from this one, we can also see that this efficiency of the panel is also is also the expression of the solar cell temperature. And here, this is the panel that we have already selected for the PVT solar. As you can see, these 3 parameters we have the efficiency and alpha 1 and alpha 2, and we also have the areas of the collector and also the type, and we have the flat box and another types, and some materials of the absorber, and also some dimensions and the cell, the PV type. So this is one product we have selected from this website. And we also select for the PV. As you can see, this is for this product, the efficiency of the reference efficiency and the coefficient is in this value. And also the same with ST collector, we also have the epsilon 0 and alpha 1 and alpha 2. And here we also have the price for each collectors, how much we need to pay for these collectors. And so next, so this is the water storage tank. So we have some energy balance equations here. So this equation is how much power generated, how much some energy change in the thermal tank. So we have 4 resources. So one resource is the power, the thermal energy from the given or generated from the coil, which is connected to the solar panel, and also we have some losses because of the heat loss to the environment, and also we also need to use some of the heat to meet the hot water demand, and we also need to use some of the heat to meet the space heating demand. So this is the equations of this water tank, and for the thermal demand balance, we also need to think about the current hot water demand. For this current hot water demand, we need to, so this needs to be judged by temperature of the tank. So if the temperature of the tank is larger than the required hot water demand, so all of the required demand from hot water can be recovered from this water tank, as you can see here. But if this water tank is smaller than the main water supply, so none of this will be covered by this water tank. And if this temperature is in between, so there will be a linear equations of this or proportional relationship between these 2 parameters. And this is also the same with the space heating demand. So also, if this how much of the space heating will be covered from the water tank will depend on the temperature of the water tank. If the temperature of water tank is larger than space heating demand temperature, in most case, space heating demand temperature for the thermostat application is 70 Celsius. If the hot water tank is larger than 70 Celsius, so all of the required space heating demand can be covered. But if it's smaller than outlet of the radiator, so it's 0. And if it is between, there will be also proportional equations. And also the same with the auxiliary heater. So if the water tank is larger than the hot water demand, so we don't need any energy from auxiliary heater. But if it is the hot water is very small, hot water temperature is very small, is smaller than the water mains, so we need auxiliary heater to meet all the hot water demand. So this is 2 extreme limit, but in between we need to also have some equations, proportion equations. And here this is also a required energy from the auxiliary heater. For space heating, this is for hot water, and this is for space heating. And we also have the pump, the electricity consumed by pump from this equation. And this is because in this model we calculate annual. We'll have conducted this calculation for 1 year. So this is around 8,042 or 41 hours. And so there's a lot of data, but we calculated this from 1 hour to 1 hour. So here I present 1 hour cycle. You can understand it's better. So here at the first point, we just this is cell temperature and the efficiency of the solar cell. We just say as ambient temperature and reference efficiency. And when the sunlight gives in this 1 hour, the the temperature of the cells increases and the electricity efficiency decreases. And then from this solar irradiance in this 1 hour and also this efficiency in this 1 hour, we will calculate the electricity generated. And this electricity, we are going to meet this electricity demand. So this is, first we are going to calculate this electricity part. And then after that, so we can calculate the reduced temperature. And this reduced temperature, we're going to we can calculate the thermal efficiency of this system at 1 hour, at this specific hour. And then we can calculate the output, the outlet fluid temperature. And after the coil, we can calculate the water tank temperature. And here, after we know this water tank temperature, we can define how much heating thermal energy we can recover, or we can cover from this solar system. And after that, we can calculate the fluid inlet of the this panel, and then this one cycle is complete, and then we can calculate the next cycle. So this is for one cycle, and then for each case, we have calculated more than 8,000 times, because we are going, the target is for 1 year long. So this is 1 hour. And here, this is the model validation. We've validated the PV panel. So this is the model simulation, and this is some experiment data. This is this experiment data we get from the company, product company. And the deviations is okay, it's quite fine. So it's around 5%. And then after the model, so we have investigated different indicators from the TACO. I would say maybe TACO is better, or energetic and economic, and also environment. And here is the TACO indicators. So we investigate annual energy saving. So that means that how much energy we can save from this if we use this solar energy. And another one is that we also think about annual energy coverage ratio. Is that mean that is the ratio of how much energy we saving to the how much demand we need for the domestic application. So that means that if this ratio is 100%, so all of the required demand for this domestic application can be met. But if it is 0, which is the external limit, none of the energy will be covered from this solar energy. So this one is also very important for us to understand how much energy can be covered from this solar panel. So to show this the potentials of this the energy coverage performance. And another indicator is economic indicator. So one is the payback time. So if this payback time is very less, is very small, then it is really good, because you don't need to have a very long time to give it to earn some money. And then the lifetime of the old technologies is 25 years. So that means if the payback time is larger than 25 years, so this invest is not good. So we don't need to buy this product. So, and another parameters we are thinking is annual operation cost saving, which is CS. So this means that for 1 year, how much operation cost saving we can have for this panel. And for economic indicators, we also have another interesting parameters. One is the levelized cost of energy. So, and if this value is low, so that means that we can pay very small money to buy energy from the product, from these solar systems. So this is also very interesting. We can compare with the current electricity price and then to compare with this. For example, if we want to calculate the levelized cost of energy from PV, we can have one value, and if we can also compare with the electricity price. If this levelized cost of energy from PV is smaller than current electricity price, then it said that this PV is very promising and is even smaller than the current electricity price. This is good to compare with the conventional solutions. And another one is the lifetime cycle cost saving, which will cost LCS. So this is calculated how much cost we will save if we for the lifetime through all the lifetime of the solar panel. Let's say here we have the 25 years of the lifetime. And so here this is the investment cost of the solar panel, the three types of a solar system. As you can see here, for PVT system, we have more cost for the different components. First, of course, we need to think about the PVT collectors, and because we also need to have some thermal fluid loop, so we need to also think about the hydronic components and some vessels and water tank, and also piping, some heat transfer fluid, pumps, mounting, and something. And also we need to think about some operation and maintenance, which is also very important because we need to give a maintenance almost 10% each year of the investment cost. So this is the total cost for the PVT system. And for the ST system, it is maybe simpler. We need to think about the collectors, price of the collectors, and some mounting and some system installation. So this is more modular. And also for PV is also more well developed because many companies is doing these tasks. So we only think about some modular cost for system installation. And besides the economic indicators, we also think about potentials of this technology from the environment potentials. So here we have the total environment penalty cost saving. So that means that so if we want to if we use this technology, how we will save the CO2 emissions, and these CO2 emissions will also have some converted cost. So this is cost that is only related to the CO2 emission. So for this one, we will calculate how much we can see how much CO2 we can save and how much we can earn, how much money we can earn from this CO2 reduction. And we also think about the ER, which is also the CO2 induction factor. And here, this is very important, total cost saving, which is we will not only think about the saving of the cost during the operation, which is CS, we also need to think about the cost saving because of the CO2 reduction, which is EPCS. So this is the cost saving from the economic part, but also from the environment part. So next, I will quickly go through the input parameters because now we establish very general models, and then for these 26 European countries, we need to collect all the input data because for each country, the input data are quite different. So first is the solar irradiance. So as you can see here, this is the annual solar irradiance in different countries, in these 26 countries. And this is the annual one, but because we are going to have hourly dependent model, so here this is the transit model, the transit parameters of the solar irradiance. So in this one, we have a solar irradiance member in each 1 hour. So as you can see, from 0 to more than 8,000 hours, which is 1 year. So this blue one is the solar irradiance, the hourly data of solar irradiance, and this red one is the hourly ambient temperature. And here I give just the example of in Germany. And so here this is the example of 12. I think it's 12 countries of the solar irradiance in the transit the transit case. And in our model, we have collect such figures for 26 countries. And the next one is the hourly electricity demand through the year, because we need to understand the electricity demand from the domestic application. So here this is the annual electricity demand from each country, from 26 countries. And here this is the transit 1 hour hourly dependent or hourly electricity demand from the from among the 1 year. So this is also the example of the Germany. And here we have also the examples of 12 countries. This is very interesting. Maybe you can see that this is Finland, which requires a lot of electricity demand. Maybe at Finland it's always dark, or they need more electricity. And also here, Sweden is also need a lot of electricity. And here in Poland, as you can see here, because these y-axis are the same, the Poland, they need very small, very little electricity demand compared with this Finland and Sweden. And also, let's say Germany is also okay. It's not too much compared with this Finland and Sweden. This is interesting to know the different the electricity demand from these different countries. And for the for this model, we also need another parameters, which is hourly thermal energy throughout the year. So for thermal energy, for domestic application, we need to think about to meet the demand for space heating, which is radiator. I think we need somewhere here, and also we also need hot water. And this is the annual data for the space heating, and this is for the hot water. And I give the hourly thermal demand and I use the Germany as an example. And as you can see, this blue lines is the hourly space heating demand, and this one is the hot water demand. As you can see here, the hot water demand is almost very stable through all the year, but the space heating is quite different. During the summer, it's almost there's no space heating demand, but in the winter we have a lot. We have a lot of demand for space heating. This is also reasonable. And here I compare 12. Here I just give 12 example, but in the model we consider 26 countries. So as you can see here, this is also very interesting to know this thermal demand of different countries. So so here, as you can see, this Portugal. As you can see here, this the space heating demand is almost zero all the year, and also very similar to Spain, very little, and is also space heating demand is also almost very stable and very low through all the year. But the cases are very different in other cities. For example, for Denmark, as you can see here, during the winter, there's a very huge space heating demand, but in the summer it's very small. And also, I think in Germany, let's say, yeah, here in Germany, also there's very similar things. And in Greek, as you can see here, the time that don't require this space heating is very long, as you can see here. It's almost, I think it's longer than 5 months. So this is difference in the thermal demand through the year. And here, we also think about some input parameters of roof areas, because we need to define how much solar panels, because we are going to install the solar panels in the rooftop. So we need to think about how much solar panels we need for each countries. And here we assume that installation areas of solar panel is fixed at half of the roof areas. And here we just have the average roof areas of each country, and then we think about half of it for solar panel areas. And here another parameters we are thinking about is inflation rate and discount rate, because we need to think about the price after 25 years. So we need to think about how this monthly changes among these long times. So we need to think about inflation rate and discount rate. So here we collect the data of inflation rate, and also this is discount rate. And we also need to think about some energy price of each country. We need to think about the electricity price of these 26 countries, and also natural gas price. One is of course, is for electricity, and another one is for heating from burning natural gas. And to investigate how much cost saving can be produced from CO2 emissions reduction. So we also have some data from the CO2 emissions intensity. So here this is how much CO2 emissions will be, so how much CO2 will be saved from if we save from 1 kilowatt, kilowatt hour electricity. So as you can see, this also changes a lot. For example, for Sweden, it's only 8. So that means that if we want to, so if we need to 1 kilowatt hour electricity, we can only save 8 gram CO2 emission. But so because I think this is different because of the power generation facility. I mean, in Sweden, the power generation facility is more clear, so there's not much CO2 emissions produced for electricity. But as you can see, for this Poland, which is a lot, I think this is because the power generation efficiency is not that too clean. So to produce electricity, there will be a lot of CO2 emissions produced. So this also changes verify a lot from each countries. And for natural gas, for the CO2 emissions from natural gas, because of limited data, so currently we only take average value of this value. Okay, so now we have the model, and now we have all the input data and verify from the 26 countries. Now we are going to put this data, input parameters into this model and do simulation and then do the cross compilation. Okay, so first, next step we'll discuss with the results. Okay, so first is the transit operate of 3 typical countries. So because now we got a result of 26 countries, there's a lot of data. So first we start with the 3 countries, which is very typical countries. We choose Sweden, Germany, and Spain as the 3 typical countries for comparison first. And the reason that we choose these 3 countries, because first is they are distributed from the south to the north, and also from the very warm climate and to the cold climate, and also for the Sweden is very short daylight, and Spain is very long daylight, and these 3 countries is among the top 10 solar energy market. So it's very interesting to investigate the potentials of solar energy in these 3 countries. And for comparison, we also choose 2 typical weeks. One is January 1st, the week starting from January 1st year, and another one is the week starting from the July 1st year. So we want to understand the transit operation between these 2 weeks, typical weeks. One is winter, one is summer. Okay, and so first is the comparison of 2 typical weeks. So here we choose the PV panel, and we choose the Germany, and then we choose, and here this is the result for the winter, and this is the result in the summer. And here, as you can see, this light gray is for the demand, how much demand required from for during this time, and this red one is how much electricity exists from this solar panel. And here, this dark one is that how much electricity can be recovered from this system. And as you can see here, yes, so in the winter, there's almost no excesses because the demand cannot, there's no excess from the PV panel because of the solar readiness is very low. And from the summer, yes, it's a lot. So as you can see here, we have a lot of excesses, and people can explore these excesses to the grid and also to earn some money, because it's like a strategy that policy encourage people to sell this electricity to the grid. And as you can see here, in winter, the coverage ratio, I mean the energy, electricity that can be covered from PV is only around 80%, which is not good. But in the summer, it can cover a lot in 62%, which is really good. But yeah, so this is comparison of 2 typical weeks. And then we also make comparison of 2 typical solar system. One as you can see, the left picture is PV. But here we only focus on electricity generation. One is the PV, and another one is PVT. And we all choose Germany, and we choose summer as an example. So here we can also see that for the PV, there's many of the energy coverage can be covered, as you can see here. Most of it can be covered. And besides that, there's also a lot of excess electricity generated that can can be exploited to the grid. And for the PVT, the coverage is also good because, as you can see, also they covered a lot. A lot of electricity demand can be covered, but it cannot exploit a lot of excess electricity. And here is the number of the coverage ratio for the PV is around 63%, which is really good, and for the PVT is about 56 is also okay. So I mean, for the coverage ratio, they shows a very comparable narrow, but for the axis, PV can have a much more excess electricity than PVT. And then we have compared of 3 typical countries, and here this is the cases in Spain, and cases in Germany, and cases in Sweden. And we all choose a winter week for the comparison, and the solar panel we choose is a PVT panel. So as you can see here, for the Spain, there's a lot of energy can be covered, and a lot of excess we can get from the PVT panel. But for the Germany, only not too much can be covered, and also not too much from can be accessed from the PVT. And for Sweden, the case is even worse, because as you can see here, this the electricity demand is much more than this one, than Spain and Germany, but the produced electricity from the solar panel is less, so the total coverage ratio should be lower. So here I give the number of the coverage ratio for the Spain during this winter. It can achieve 40%, which is really good because this is winter. And in the Germany, only 30%, and for Sweden, it's only 77.3%. Because I think one case is because of the low solar irradiance, and the generated electricity is not that lot, it's not too much, and also the demand is really high, so the total ratio is really low. And here, and then in the past, in the previous, we discussed with electricity generation, and next we're going to discuss with the thermal energy generation. So here, this is the comparison of 2 typical solar systems, one PVT and one ST for thermal energy. So as you can see also here, this is this one. So this one is the demand, how much we demand for the Sweden, and this dark blue, the dark gray is the how much we can cover from this PVT, and this is how much covered from ST. So from these 2 pictures, we can show that the potentials of coverage, energy coverage for the PVT and ST are quite similar, which is all below 10%. I mean, it shows that in winter there's not much potential to use this. 2 solar systems to meet the thermal energy in domestic application. And we also compare with 2 typical weeks. We focus on the one PVT, and we based on the Sweden, and one is in winter time and another one in summer time. So this will show a significant difference between these 2 typical weeks. So in winter, for PVT, the thermal energy coverage ratio is below 10%, which we discussed in the last slide. But here in summer, the coverage ratio is almost 98%, which is really good. So that means that almost all the thermal energy demand can be covered for PVT. And we also compare with different typical countries on PVT. We think about the Spain, and also Germany, and the Sweden, and here because in because in the last slide we think that in the winter the coverage ratio for the Sweden is really low, so we want to think about how about the case for the Spain also in the winter, but we can find that for the Spain, which these potentials of using the PVT is really good, as you can see here, and the demand, and this is coverage. So that means that in winter, even in winter, if we use the PVT in Spain, the coverage ratio can be reached as 92%. Because this is one aspect is because one reason is because it has a very low heating demand. As you can see, this is heating demand when compared to the Germany is a lot and Sweden is a lot, but here Sweden is a very low heating demand because of the high ambient temperature, and also the solar radiance of the Spain is also a lot. So if we use this PVT in the Spain, in this country, there's a lot very high potentials of to have a very high coverage ratio. And in Germany, Sweden is also below 10%. And here we just also think about what is the other case in summer. We compared with PVT and ST, and we think about the German case and the Spain case and the Sweden case. We think about how much thermal energy can be covered in winter for these two systems. And as you can see here, almost of the thermal energy can be covered. So that means that we use this solar energy. If we use this solar energy in summer in these three countries, it's quite good. We don't need any external or additional heaters. Almost of the demand we can cover it. We just use a PV or ST, then that's fine. We don't need any other additional heaters or electricity heaters or some heat pump or some other things. Okay, so then this is the transit operation. We compare with three countries, and then we think about some monthly results of these three countries. So here we think about how much electricity we can cover from the January to February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and to the December. And here the blue bar is the demand, how much demand we need for each month, for each month. And here this blue curve is how much we can cover from PV or from PVT. And this the red one is how much excess we can get from the solar panel. So and the upper fixture is the PV, and the bottom fixture is PVT. So and here we have the Germany, and here this is Spain and Sweden. So let's maybe first start with three countries, because there's a lot of data. We need to start first with the countries. As you can see here, when we compare different countries, we can say that Sweden, if we use a PV or PVT, it can, most of the demand cannot be, the coverage ratio is very low compared to the other things, because as you can see, other things, especially in ES, which is Spain, a lot of demands can, almost all the demand can be covered, and we also have some excesses. But for the Sweden, as you can see in these different bars, though, it is not, especially in winter, there's the coverage ratio is very low. And we also compare with the PV and PVT. We can also see that from first view, we can see that in the summer, almost of the energy can be covered from the PV. But here for the PVT, I think, especially for the Sweden, not all of it can be covered. And also the coverage of the coverage ratio from PV is also higher than PVT in the winter. And also from the months, from January to December, it shows a very conflict trend. For example, this is the demand, how this trend demands. So for the electricity, in the winter we need a lot of electricity, but in the summer we need less. So this is a trend that is like this. But the electricity generated from the solar energy, the trend is like this. So that means that in the winter we cannot produce a lot of electricity, but during the summer we can produce more. So this trend shows that maybe it's not quite good to. This trend is not good to meet the demand, because actually in the summer we need more. So we don't need too much, but in the winter we need too much electricity. But so this means that in the winter we need to think about other technologies to meet other renewable energies, not only solar, maybe other things. We need to meet the huge difference between this demand and the electricity that can be provided from solar panel. And next is the thermal energy. So here for the thermal energy, this is thermal energy, how much thermal energy we can cover from PVT, and how much solar energy we can cover from ST. When compare these two things, I think when compared with PVT and solar thermal, they are very quite close. I mean, the coverage is quite close between each year. But when you compare with different countries, as you can see here for the ES, which is Spain, almost all the thermal energy can be covered, except December. But in other months, the Spain, almost the thermal energy can be covered from the Spain. So but in Germany and Sweden, especially for the Sweden in the winter, I mean, the coverage is very small, as you can see here. This is very small, so we need another strategies, maybe some heat pump for the Sweden. The solar panel is not enough. And also for different months, as you can see here for the Sweden, as we discussed, is only 4% coverage in the December. So this is because of the shorter daylight and also very huge demand, as you can see. This here, very huge demand, but also very less electricity produced. And so here is the result of the annual result. So it's like the annual result, how much electricity can be produced for a year. So this annual result that we are going to compare with the 26 countries. This is for the PV system. And as the same thing with this is like, this is the demand, the dark bar is the demand, dark gray bar is demand, and this green is the coverage, how much energy can be coverage, and how much electricity can be accessed, and then we can send it to the grid. And there's a lot of 26 Euro countries, and we can see here, we can see here, the Finland has lowest electricity coverage rate. I think Finland, yes, maybe, yeah, here. This is the lowest electricity coverage at, which is only 27%, and Italy has the highest electricity coverage at 49%, and the average electricity coverage for this PV system for these 26 Euro countries is in this level, which is really good. So that means that for general 26 Euro countries, this PV system can cover almost 40% of the electricity. So then we need to think about how to deal with this the rest of 60%. But this is quite good because almost half of the electricity demand can be covered by PV system. And the next is the PV system, the annual result of the PVT system. So here is how much electricity can be covered from the PVT system, and this one is how much thermal energy can be covered from the PVT system. So here, first we think about the electricity. So we can select top 3 EU countries which has the highest electricity coverage ratio. One is the Cyprus, which is PVT can coverage almost 93% of the required electricity, and Portugal almost 99%, which is really good. So we don't need any other things. Only need 1% from the electricity heater. And Spain is also very good. Has also shown very promising potentials using this PVT system for electricity. And And in terms of the thermal energy, and here we can also find top 3 EU countries with very high thermal energy coverage ratio. And another one is still Cyprus, which is also quite good, and Portugal, and also Spain. But this the highest thermal energy coverage ratio is around 40%. So that means that when compared to this 90%, this is low. So that means that if we use this PVT, we still need to think about others to how to cover the other 60%, because this is the best case. And in the worst case, maybe sometimes below 10%. So I mean, this PVT cannot cover all the thermal demand. So we need to think about a heat pump or just a boiler, gas boiler or something. And so this is okay, and just follow this figure. And here we also think about, and we also find out the lowest heating demand. One is the Latvia and the Lithuania and the Luxembourg, which has a very low heating demand. But I mean the lowest thermal coverage. But for the electricity, they show quite good. They show that high energy coverage is around 37%, which is above the average. And okay, so the next is about the ST system. So we can also check that the Portugal, which is here, as you can see here, has the very highest coverage, which is around 97%, and Luxembourg, let's check. Oh, here, yes. So it has the lowest solar thermal energy coverage, which is around 49%, and the other systems at the different countries is in between. And here. Here is the comparison analysis between 26 EU countries. We think about payback time and the total cost savings. As you can maybe just let's first start with this one, the payback time. We have this is the map of the EU countries, and we compare with the PV and PVT and ST. And if this color is getting more dark, so this means that payback time is more. As you can see here, this is very obvious. The ST system, a lot of dark red, which shows that payback time for the ST is really not good. The longest one is around 120 years in some countries, which is not promising. So that shows that in some countries, using ST is not that cost effective. And here I give some average payback time among all the 26 EU countries. The PV is around 9.3 years. This is average payback time, which is good. And for the PVT is 22.3 years. So this is also within the lifetime, but for the ST is not good. But I mean for the ST, maybe it's promising in use in some countries like high solar irradiance country and with small thermal energy demand. But for most of countries, not quite good. And so this one is the total cost saving. So as you can see, if this color is getting more dark, so that means that there's more total cost saving we can get. And you can see here, this ST system almost white, so it's not good to, it shows that it's not, it's going to not have much total cost saving. But for the PV and PV system, for some areas, it can show very large potentials of having a total cost, a very high cost saving. But in the north part, as you can see in the north part of the Europe, the cost saving is not too much, even using PV. So in some countries, maybe using this solar system is not that promising because cost saving is very little. And besides this, we also calculate about the cost saving based on the CO2 reduction. So here for PVT, we can think about PVT. It can save more cost than PV and ST in case of CO2 emission reduction. So this shows that the PVT system has the best environmental performance in all those EU countries. So maybe we can give some conclusions. So first, for this PV system, it has the better economic performance because of the very low payback time. But for the PVT, it has the best environmental potential because it has a very high EPCS, which is environment potential cost saving due to the reduction of the CO2 emission. And we also think about the levelized cost of energy and the lifetime cost of saving, which is, I mean, for the average levelized cost, the PV is only 0.079 euros kilowatt hour, and PVT is much larger and STV is larger. So this one we can compare with the electricity price of the different countries. If this value is lower, then PVT, then PV is better. We can just use PV, not use some electricity from the grid. So this we can also show this. And for the levelized cost, this is also have the very similar trend of the previous economic parameters. But one case is that we can see that for the levelized cost saving, it shows very related to the locations. As you can see here, for this lost part, there's not much cost saving, and especially in this part, also cost saving is not too much, but in some in this direction, in the more south and in the more south direction, it shows higher potentials of the cost saving when using this solar system. Okay, so this is the last part. So besides this, we also think about predictions of the payback time. So that means that because the energy price is verified each year from each year, so we are thinking about if this natural gas prices and also electricity prices changes next time or next year. What is the optical strategies for this different solar system? So as you can see here, I just give an example of the Poland. We changed the natural gas price and electricity price. And here this dot is the current price. So currently, this Poland is at this price. But if we have this electricity price higher, we can get to this range. This is the optical solar panel selection. And this, so as you can see, currently we are in the PV. PV is the best selection. And if we come to this range, if this price come to this range, PVT is the best selection. And if we come to this range, the ST is the best selection. So this means that if the natural gas price increases and if we have a very low electricity price, so it will be favorable to the ST system. And if we can have a very high electricity price and also very high electricity price, so it will be favorable to the PVT system. And if the natural gas price will be decreased, and also if the electricity price will be higher, so it will favorable to the PV system. So, but for countries with very high solar radiance, PVT outperforms. So currently, of course, they are at this one, but let's see what happens with next years. So anything will be changed if we change just to this level. So PVT will win. Maybe sometimes, if the price also even to this level, ST will win. So here we also demonstrate how this prediction of this payback time when this natural gas and electricity changes. As you can see here, almost besides Finland and Poland, we have some small areas of ST, as you can see here. The other parts, the ST shows no chance to win. But I mean, the PVT also shows some chance to win when this natural gas price is very large, and also electricity price is the electricity price is low. So, but for some countries, for Portugal and Spain and Sweden, the PV is almost biggest winner. As you can see there, there's no other sections. Okay, so then come to the conclusion. So first, so PVT system has the best total energy conversion, coverage for being a combined cooling, heating, and combined heating and power system. As you can see here, PVT, we can cover, this is average value among 26 Euro countries. The PVT can have a coverage of 37.4% electricity, and as well as 48% of thermal energy. But for PV, it can only coverage electricity, and for SAT can only coverage thermal energy. And for a PV system has the best economic performance in all the EU countries. Here is the average payback time of the 3 different energy solar energy system. And here we also demonstrate that the PVT system has the best environmental performance among all these countries, because here with the environment percentage cost savings, the PVT wins. And here, and the potential of using these solar systems also verifies with also also determined by the areas and also the locations. We found that in the southern and the coastal European countries tend to have a better economic performance using these solar systems. Because one case is because it has a larger solar irradiance, and because of the higher temperature and milder climate, which is the thermal energy demand, which is lower. So here we list the 3 typical countries, which is very promising to have this solar system. One is Spain, one is Portugal, and Cyprus. And we also found that in the northern and the inland European countries tends to have a worse performance, because of the very large temperature difference between the night and day, and also very short daytime and very low solar irradiance. So here we also give 4 examples. Sweden, which is often be talked, so which is the coverage ratio is low, and also another 3 countries. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you so much for your listening.
Thank you very much. Da unten, okay, alles klar. Thank you very much, Jingyuan. Are there questions? Gibt's Fragen von den Zuhörern?
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for that very comprehensive presentation. I have a short question. So if I understand correctly, you use the heating of the house to essentially cool the water, which then in turn cools the PV. Now, if there's one thing I don't need in a Karlsruhe summer, it's more heat in my house. But on the other hand, that's the time of the year where PV actually profits in efficiency from cooling. Do you think it would make technical sense to add a secondary heat sink somewhere, probably very close to my neighbor's house?
Yes, I think we can consider that. To add some secondary things, yes, it's very. But I did not calculate in these things, but we can compare it. But from the tech performance, it will of course be beneficial to add a secondary. But we also need to think about the cost, because we need to also pay some money to have to give some investment of this secondary component. So we need to think about how much. You need to think about how much energy we can save in, or how much coverage ratio we can improve, compare with this investment. So it's like a balance. We need to do some. Yes, I think it's worth study to do some exploration.
Weitere Fragen? Ja, bitte.
I have a more technical question. On slide 22, there was an equation, and there was something like efficiency of a boiler, and I was confused because in your system there's no boiler, and I just
you mean
it was
this one?
Pretty fast, and I didn't understand the equation. So
yeah, so this one is like this is annual energy saving. This is the coverage one from electricity. And because this energy ratio, because for the CHP system, we have the electricity power and also the heating power. But this power is not at the same level, because we think that the heating power generated from this solar energy is more cheaper than electricity power. So we need to think about how to compare these things. So this annual energy saving is that in terms of electricity. So here we have the electricity, but we need to convert the thermal energy into electricity level. So then we are thinking about we can fabricate this kind of thermal energy by using a boiler. If we're using this boiler, we need to use electricity. So this term refers to how much electricity we can save for if we producing this thermal energy from the boiler. Because as you know, boiler is the conventional strategy we use to produce this cooling, not to produce this thermal energy.
And one question is it a gas boiler or electrical boiler?
Yeah, this is a good question. For the so currently, in my study, I think about the gas boiler because it's more conventional. But currently, many families use the electricity boiler. But still, the gas boiler is the most common method for providing some energy.
Okay, unsere Zuhörer auf YouTube können die Fragen auch gerne im Chat stellen. Those who are participating on YouTube, they can just write in the chat some questions. And while we are waiting for that, I would have a question. Jingyuan, did you look at coupling it somehow with a heat pump? I mean, you get the electricity from the PV, and we just heard from Philip about the cooling in the summer. If you would have a heat pump, then you could somehow, use all this surplus energy, electricity in the summer for cooling the house with the same heat pump device which you use in the winter to generate some surplus heating.
This is a very good idea. So actually, I already have I will have one master student doing this topic. So we are going to think about using a heat pump to connect with this hot water, and one of the electricity generated from this solar collector will to provide the electricity required for the heat pump, and the power, the thermal power we get from this heat pump will give this to the tank, and after that this tank will give to meet the space heating and hot water. So we are going to connect the heat pump with this tank. So this is like a solar assistant heat pump. This is one we are going to do. Next year, maybe. Yeah.
We can have a research project together in 2017. We were almost done with a proposal, but we never handed it in, using a PVT collector, and then the heat coming from the PVT collector as a input for the heat pump, and the electricity from the PV side of the PVT collector to power the heat pump.
Yeah, there's a lot of connections. So one is that I just discussed with, if you connect with the heat pump in parallel, this is in parallel, and we also can connect the PV, the heat pump in series. So that means we can use the thermal energy from this one as a heat sink, the heat source end of the heat pump. So in different connections, yeah, but we can do that. It's interesting.
Okay, weitere Fragen? More questions? Hast du was gekriegt, Martin, über YouTube? Alle glücklich? Okay, da hinten ist noch eine Frage.
In your calculations, when you provided the calculations comparing the energy needs per countries and the possible received energy from the solar panels, what approach did you use to calculate the achievement of the covering? I mean, was it like averaging per household, or you just use some average energy consumption per household, or it was per country?
So I showed, you mean this one? You mean this data? Oh, you mean the average, how much average payback time, right? So I'm not sure. So which data you are going to ask?
There were slides with the countries, like for example, slides with 3 countries: Spain,
Slides
Europe,
with
Germany,
countries.
and Denmark, or Sweden. And
Something here? Ah, you mean this one?
yes, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, how did you calculate? What was the approach? You took the country consumption, or you used the any average consumption per household, for example?
Ah, okay, I understand. Okay, I use consumption of the in per country, But for in this country, I choose the typical. For example, I choose the typical demand, thermal demand, and electricity demand of the domestic application in that country. So this is, yeah. So you ask something.
Then just additional question.
Mm-hmm.
Then did you make any assumption like about the size of the installation? Is it like the panel used in all households, or it's somewhere else?
Yeah.
Was this an assumption of using the panels like in every house?
Yes, in
Right?
every house
Okay.
and in a roof. As you can see here,
Okay.
I check because usually this PV system we assume that is installed in the rooftop, and here we can assume that in different countries we have different areas of roof area, as you can show in this table. And here we think about the installation of the solar panels is 50% of these roof areas. So this is for like standalone house. It's not like a flat form. It's like a standalone house in each countries. We get some data from the I think it's from annual data, which is the EU database, and we get these roof areas, and then we calculate 0.5% for the solar panels for different countries.
Okay, weitere Fragen? More questions? Sieht nicht so aus. Then thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Nächste Woche haben wir dann einen weiteren Vortrag in dieser Kooperation zwischen, wie heißt dein Seminar? Also Hochschule Karlsruhe, ja, und dann Deutscher Kälte-Klimatechnische Verein, DKV, und VDI-TGR, also technische Gebäudeausrüstung. Wir haben eigentlich so alle 4 Wochen einen Vortrag, haben das bisher immer dienstags gemacht und haben deswegen des Hybridformats gesagt, es ist einfacher, wenn wir das mit Ihnen zusammen machen, also mit den Studierenden im Rahmen von deiner Veranstaltung. Und dann haben wir nächste Woche Mittwoch einen Vortrag von 2 Kollegen hier von der Hochschule, von der Fakultät für Maschinenbau und Mechatronik. Die haben sich angeschaut, Verbrennungsmotoren gibt es ja in Kraftfahrzeugen seit über 100 Jahren, und die sind sehr optimiert. Auf der anderen Seite in Kälteanlagen, Klimaanlagen, Wärmepumpen gibt es Verdichter. Die funktionieren nach dem gleichen Prinzip, wenn das Hubkolbenmaschinen sind. Und haben die 2 sich überlegt, was kann der Verdichter vom Verbrennungsmotor lernen. Nächste Woche Mittwoch, 17:30 Uhr, gleicher Hörsaal, auch wieder über YouTube von zu Hause anzuhören. Als Besonderheit, weil es der 6. Dezember ist, Nikolaus, machen wir hinterher im LI 015, also in unserem Kältelabor, so gemeinsames Essen mit Pizza. Also wer da mitmachen will, wir lassen dann so einen Zettel rumgehen für Pizzaservice, Pizza bestellen, muss halt jeder dann selber bezahlen. Getränke machen wir bei uns aus dem Institut heraus. Und hinterher wollen wir noch über den Weihnachtsmarkt laufen, so wer da mitmachen möchte. Und im nächsten Jahr, zumindest bei uns in der Reihe DKV VDI, haben wir dann eine Exkursion zum Europabad. Sind auch Studierende herzlich eingeladen. Also wer sich interessiert für die ganze technische Gebäudeausrüstung im Europabad hier in Karlsruhe, der kann da gerne mitkommen. Und dann gibt es noch einen Vortrag zu, ich glaube, Propan-Klimaanlagen. Das komplette Programm finden Sie auf der Homepage vom VDI-TGA hier in Karlsruhe. Martin, hast du noch was? Okay. Teilnehmerliste hat sich jeder eingetragen und die Idee, weil für die Studierenden gibt es dann hinterher keine Note, wenn sie da nicht draufstehen, ne, Martin, so ungefähr. Ja, und für die DKV und VDI-Leute, es gibt ja dann immer ein bisschen Zuschuss für die Veranstaltungen, zum Beispiel für Getränke. Wir gehen jetzt auch hinterher, wer Lust hat, noch VDI, DKV ins Badisch Brauhaus, da was essen und trinken. Wer da mitkommen möchte, kann ja hier unten gleich herkommen, können wir gemeinsam darüber gehen. Ansonsten allen einen schönen Abend. Vielen Dank fürs Kommen, fürs Zuhören und vielleicht bis nächste Woche. Ciao.